Hello everybody, Spooky Sand Woman here. Thank you for checking episode, I don't know, of Seduce Me the Otome. Wow, this intro makes it sound like I really gave up, but I just couldn't keep track. I'm dumb. Anyway, we met Malix. Yeah. Yeah, why was he here?
He's been closely tracking us. Our blood trail from the forest must have led him here.
We should have stopped and finished it here.
For once, Matthew, I agree with you.
I stood up and rubbed my arms, feeling the goosebumps Malix left behind on me. I couldn't stop myself from shivering in fear of his words. Malix, was he a demon?
That son of a bitch is not a demon. He's a devil.
A devil? There's a difference?
Yes, demons come from a different plane of existence called the abyssal plane. Devils, however, come from one of the seven circles of a place humans know. It's hell. Despite us not being human, we are very different creatures.
We actually have brains, for one. Devils always like to cause trouble and try to kill or torture others for their own enjoyment. Demons, like us, know when to use our powers and when not to. We're not stupid.
Devils follow orders from higher-ups in their order, and their power only comes from their connection to hell. Demons all have free wills and don't rely on where they came from to use their powers.
This was all so confusing. Demons and devils and magic all existed, and I happened to land in the middle of it. What do we do?
You're safe. You've been protected as well.
What?
What Damien's saying is that the magic that protects this place also protects you.
Your grandfather must have cast it when you last saw him or something of that nature. We can sense its aura around your body.
I couldn't believe my ears. It was the third day of surprises, and this one took the cake in being the most surprising. I felt my head spin once again. What did I get myself into?
Miss, please don't worry. We'll find a way to train ourselves and become stronger to finally finish this feud.
Kick his ass right now.
Until then, we'll protect you as much as we can. If Malix comes back, we'll be here for you.
But what about going outside? Won't he?
Like we said, you have a protection spell on you. Even if Malix attacks you, he won't be able to use his magic on you. He'll be just like any other human you can fight back against.
Didn't you say you knew Taekwondo?
Well, yeah. I felt somewhat relieved that I was mostly safe from Malix. Still, I could not help but feel very nervous and apprehensive about the future. The boys were safe here to train and become stronger, but what if Malix did the same? Even more so, I was lost about how my grandfather knew about magic. I had to find out. At least I had time. I went to bed that night feeling nervous. Despite the words of the incubi, I felt like a target to something I'd never been able to explain or prove. Magic? Devils? Demons? How did all of this even happen? Should I really meddle with the situation? They are only staying until after they defeat Malix. That's right. They said they'd only stay until after they defeated Malix. After that, my life could go back to normal. Temporary insanity, as Kay would say. The question was then, would I want them to leave? If my life went back to normal, then I'd have to take care of the house all on my own. I'd get to focus on my life instead of being distracted by the boys. I'd have to. Oh, my life. Where was my life going anyway? I was under pressure from my parents with only my friends and the boys to comfort me. Without the boys, I'd have no way to hide from my responsibilities. Enough. Let's just sleep and deal with tomorrow when it comes. Defeating my sense of thought, I forced myself to sleep, unsure of what tomorrow had planned for me. Hopefully, whatever the future had for me, I would be ready for it.
I promise to be with you forever. You're so important to me.
I swear I'll give my life to you.
Please, let me love you.
I'll be by your side, always.
I can't imagine living without you.
I want to be with you.
I love you.
I slowly opened my eyes, letting the voices of my dreams echo in my head and force me awake. I rubbed my eyes before sitting up and looking at my clock. 7 a.m.? Why am I up so early? I fell back onto the bed and closed my eyes, trying to go back to sleep. However, something was keeping me awake. Why? It's too early to even be alive. I gave up and sat up, staring at the fireplace across from my bed. A sigh escaped from between my lips before I threw my legs over the side of the bed. What to do at 7 a.m.? Let's do my homework. I had to work on my homework. I had school tomorrow, regardless of what was happening in my life. At that moment, I wished school was over. Well, might as well get it done now. I reluctantly took out my books out of my bag and sat on the floor. I made my bed into a steady picnic area as I began to work through my homework. The benefit of doing your homework in the morning? Not having to do it later. The downside? Mornings suck for trying to use your brain for anything educational. The formula for fixed cost is FC plus VC times Q equals TC. Marginal cost is total cost minus fixed costs. I felt my brain slowly start to ramp up the flow of logical thought, speeding up the time I was working on each economic equation I had. It wasn't a matter of me being smart about anything when it came to doing homework or doing well in class, but I was quick to learn and easily retained information. If only I could learn about the boys this fast. I stopped. Did I really just compare learning about demons to learning about economics? 7 a.m. It's too early to be alive, let alone make sense. I shook my head and continued to work. I returned to bed, feeling the weight of the morning drag me under my covers to try sleeping again. I had energy, but I wanted more sleep. It was Sunday, and nothing was happening today. Come on, eyes. Back to sleep. I shut my eyes and tried to slow my breathing. I looked at my phone to check the time once again. It was noon, yet I felt like I had slept for much longer. Why is time going so slowly? I sighed, got changed into normal clothes, and went out to the main hall and sat on the stairs. Sundays were very boring. However, the muffled sounds of battle caught my attention. Huh? I quickly went out to the backyard in response to the noise I had heard. In the yard were all 5 of the boys, practicing fighting. Sam was in the middle with the other 4 surrounding him and throwing punches and kicks at him. Sam, being the strongest of the bunch, blocked and dodged each almost masterfully. I'm not going to disturb them. I just watched. The boys were very much in their own world, focusing on the training they were all in. It was better not to disturb them. I checked the time and decided to head inside to the kitchen. I was getting hungry, and I'm sure the boys would need to eat soon, so lunch was a must. Might as well make lunch today. It's been a while since I cooked. Lunch wasn't particularly hard. I decided to make chicken and rice. Gotta keep their energy and strength up with protein. I took my time to make almost perfect chicken breast alongside some rice. Cooking wasn't hard unless you didn't know what you were doing in the first place. I placed the food in the dining room, however, none of the boys were there by the time I brought the final dish out. I carried that dish to the main lobby, catching the boys separating into different rooms of the house. Part of me wanted to go to one in particular. The other part of me wanted to just leave them be and take the food in my hand to my room and eat. Maybe I could go out today while the boys focused on training. I'm gonna find an incubi. Yeah, because that's what I gotta do. I quickly rushed back and grabbed a second food dish before hunting down one of the boys. Oh, I found James in the library, sitting in one of the comfy leather seats reading a book. As I stepped in, James looked up at me before closing the book and standing.
Oh, hello.
Hey, James, I got some lunch for you.
That is very kind of you. Thank you.
James took his food and sat down, placing the book he was reading on the table in front of him and setting the dish on his lap.
I'm sorry. I should have asked you first before exploring the house and finding this room.
Oh, no, you're fine. Remember, you live here too, so any room besides mine is free to be in.
Still, you're the master of the house. I should have asked.
It's fine, really. James nodded at me with an understanding smile before eating his food. I followed along and ate with him, taking the open chair beside his. We ate in silence, listening to the ambience in the room. Soon, however, I began to feel a little restless. I'm gonna check out the book. I put my food down on the table and lifted the book to examine it. Love and Romance, a Study of Intimacy. Oh. James let out a small, nervous cough before he stopped eating and placed his food on the table.
Demons and humans are very different when it comes to affairs of the heart. I merely wanted to try learning a little more while I had the chance. I found that while I was looking around the room and had only just begun reading.
Love is different to demons? How so? James smiled before crossing his legs, getting comfy for the small lecture he was about to give. Oh boy.
Love isn't just a human emotion, miss. Demons like us feel them too. In fact, incubi and succubi feel emotions the most because of our link to sexual energy. However, we don't really experience love. We know of lust and passion.
But passion drives love.
For humans, yes. For demons, it fuels our need to breed and increase the strength of our lineage, as well as quells the hunger we have for sexual energy. It's very hard for us to develop feelings from passion, despite how easy it may logically seem.
You hunger for energy. I could tell I struck a nerve with James. As I mentioned the word hunger, his arm twitched, obviously wanting to do something other than remain on the armrest of his chair. He continued speaking regardless.
Sexual energy is our natural food source and is one of two ways to keep us alive. In the abyssal planes, there are many demons to feed off of who are always wanting to give their energy up. So, sexual hunger is never an issue. In the human world, however, we've come to realize that getting energy is a little more difficult.
Can't you just touch a human for their energy like you all did with me?
That only gives us so much. A touch is merely a taste, while intimate sex is a banquet for us.
Oh! I guess that was true. Humans weren't all about sex, and were probably a lot more conservative than demons, at least. It would be hard to gain sexual energy from a human without doing something to them or catching them in the right mood.
This is why we have a mind-altering ability to convince humans to give in to their desires. It's not 100% effective, but it gives us a better possibility to get what we need.
What if you don't feed on sexual energy? What's the other way to stay alive?
Food, typically. However, we're weak without actual sexual energy. Without sexual energy, we become less than human. We have no power nor moral consciousness. We basically start to become unfriendly.
Are you hungry now? James didn't reply. He simply stared at me, unable to answer. However, I could tell that he was. He was clutching the armrest tightly, digging his fingers into the leather. I gently leaned close to him from my chair and reached to brush my fingers over his hand. If you really need energy, I'll help a little. No sex, but enough to stop the hunger, okay? Once again, I was greeted with silence from James. He seemed very nervous and uncertain about what to do, now that the approval was there. He was also frozen from my touch, softly and barely twitching at the feel of my skin against his. I could feel his hand grip the armrest harder. A small feeling of boldness then ran through my body, forcing me to cover his hand completely with my own before leaning nose to nose with James in seriousness. Lordy. Alter my mind if you're concerned about me. I really do want to help you out. All of a sudden, I felt something in my mind snap and ooze into the warm, fluffy feeling I felt before with Sam and Eric. I felt my body suddenly heat up as James released the armrest and gently took my wrist. He gently pulled me out of my chair and onto his lap, having me straddle him with my thighs. Lord, he stared deep into my eyes, his own glowing in hunger that I would have never expected to see from him. Before I knew it, his lips were pressed hard against mine, my head being pulled to his by his hand on the back of my neck. I gently moved my hands to his shoulders and chest, melting in his lap and enjoying every feeling that ran through my body. I felt hot, desperate, and in need for more than just his kiss. Oh my gosh. One of my hands slid up his neck and into his hair as James lowered his kisses to my neck, gently groaning against my skin. I couldn't help but let out a small whimper of pleasure before reaching up and covering my mouth. Jeez. I didn't want the others to hear me, but I was positive neither did James. James lowered his free hand to my lower back, pulling my body against his. I felt my energy slowly draining, causing me to cuddle closer to James's hold on me. He lowered his hands to my waist, squeezing it tightly as his tongue ravaged my neck. Jesus! James! His hand was... I can't read. I'm embarrassed. His hand that was on the back of my neck, however, gently came around and held onto the tail of my bow. I sucked in a breath, but James didn't pull it to untie the bow. James lifted his lips from my neck and gently leaned his forehead to mine, rubbing nose to nose with me. He was gently breathing fast, softly red in the face, as deep into the moment as I was.
I won't go any further if you don't want me to.
Well, we all know what's going to happen. I could feel the hold of his mind-altering spell fade away, but I still felt hot. Something told me that I wanted more, but at the same time, I wasn't sure if I truly did want to give any more. But, you know how we do. We're gonna keep going. I opened the opportunity and was enjoying it as much as he was. I wanted more, and I was gonna let him keep going. He promised not to go far, but that wasn't far enough for me. I gently leaned in and kissed him, giving him silent approval to keep going. I could feel him pull on the tail of my bow, releasing it and letting it follow his hand off from around my neck. I can't read. He moved the ribbon to the empty seat before gently unbuttoning the top half of my blouse, going no longer than above my stomach. The desire in my body drove me to move the sleeves of my shirt and down my arms, escaping it and letting the shirt hang around my belly. I think this is farther than what the others have been like. As he began to ravish my neck and soldier, I leaned my head back and a pleasureful sigh escaped my lips. Again, I can't read. The pull on my body from him draining my energy had slowed immensely, but almost completely stopping. However, James kept touching and kissing me regardless. He was full, and he was as hot as I was, and kept loving on my skin and on me. I couldn't even comprehend how much time we spent making out. I was so lost in the pleasure that I didn't care. Call it sinful, but I didn't care. I loved it. His touch, his kiss, his heat. I desired it beyond anything at that moment, even as he lowered his kisses down my chest to just above my bra. My heart was beating wildly in my chest. Something about James drew me to him like a moth to a flame. I didn't know if it was his aura of superiority or his gentle smile, but something made my heart quicken for him. It couldn't have been love, but it was too passionate for lust. What was it? However, I began to feel dizzy, seeing the ceiling start to spin around almost wildly. I gripped onto James's shoulder, trying to signal him to stop, but my mind faded to black before I could let out another sound. Oops. I'm gonna end this episode out here. That was a bit much compared to the other ones. Lordy Lou, James, for being the eldest. Lordy Lou. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, go ahead and leave a like and subscribe. Share with your friends if they like making out. Bye-bye!